When it comes to affordability, budget-conscious consumers are always trying to get the best bang for the buck, but most often the low price tag comes with many compromises in build quality but also features. It makes us question the balance between affordability and functionality. So a company under the name Cougar is really redefining what affordability means within this vastly competitive chassis market. So this mini gaming case Spike is the lowest priced case we've ever reviewed here at Hardware Canucks, retailing at $35. Now, of course, concerns do arise because of the price, but I'm sure many are willing to overlook the negatives at such an attractive low-cost solution. I mean, individual side panels are sold at similar price, so keeping that in mind, let's get on with the review. So the case does manage to give off a unique vibe with this front panel. The rest of the construction is thin steel. We don't get that tough feel, but it does manage to pull off a decent build quality at this price point. Now we have two 5¼ inch drive bays along with a 3.5 inch below with your power and reset buttons, two USB ports, one of which is USB 3, and your audio jacks. Now the panel can easily be removed from the front, which reveals all the connections are attached to the panel itself and not to the frame. A single fan can be installed, either 120, 90 or 80mm are supported with a side cutout to route your cable. It's a nice consideration. And we do have a front mesh, but unfortunately no dust filter. Now speaking of fans, only one fan is included with the Spike for your rear exhaust, so it is highly recommended that you install that front intake for adequate passive airflow. Now the case does have small anti-vibration pads installed at the bottom, which is better than nothing. The top of the case is bare, which means no additional fan mounts can be installed and only one way to install your power supply facing down. Now this is one of the few cases that we've looked at with a top mounted power supply, but in this case it actually works, and we'll talk about that a bit later. Now my only concern is this very small power supply base that supports your unit, and it would be nice to see it enlarged for reassurance that it won't drop on your motherboard, aside from securing it from the back. Now at the back we have 4 PCI slots that are unfortunately non-reusable and additional side venting. And given the limited airflow options here, the side fan mounting options are very welcome, which are positioned to cool both your CPU and your GPU. Now looking inside, the all black interior is going to be well received for a value case. Here we also have the all toolless mounting for your optical and hard drives, and right below is the space that has the potential to house 14-inch graphics cards, which is pretty impressive. Also with that front fan installed, you have yourself a nice cooling solution, although your 3.5-inch drives might get a little toasty as they are outside of the airflow channel. Now we can also install a single 2.5-inch drive on the floor, although it might be a little difficult accessing while your graphics cards are in place. And looking in the back, there isn't much here. There's absolutely no room behind the motherboard tray, so expect to do all your cable management internally. And with the first few parts installed, this micro ATX case doesn't stack too bad. Of course, cable management is limited, but there's plenty of room at the top to store all your cables. Now clearance for your CPU heatsink and memory may become an issue, especially for your memory modules because of those 3.5-inch drives. Of course, this will vary based on motherboards, but any module higher than 2 inches will have clearance issues. So continuing with cable management, to my surprise, wiring everything wasn't so difficult at all. A little cramped, but honestly it cleaned up pretty well, considering all the cables are inside of the case and not at the back. And I was actually quite surprised at how the Spike can handle such enthusiast load, and showcases that even a $35 case can do the job well, with support for long graphics cards, up to 4 fans for cooling, 3 hard drives and 1 SSD is pretty much all we need for a decent gaming rig anyway, and the entire package for such a low price is an absolutely a no-brainer for any value build. And also cable management, if done properly, will leave the internals clutter-free. Now of course our critique cannot be seduced by the price, but these are minor issues that, if taken into account, can make this an even more competitive case. For example, the lack of a dust filter at the front and slightly taller case feet would be nice. However, no matter of the price, the sticking out 3.5-inch drives are no excuse. and a simple 90-degree rotation of the cage would solve for the extra RAM clearance and get rid of that extra cable mess. But seriously guys, for a $35 case, this is an absolutely damn good value product from Cougar. So that wraps up our review for the Spike. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.